Street. In the 1960s, was the family home of the Asher family. Sir Richard Asher was a well-known psychiatrist, and wife Margaret was Professor of Music at the Guildhall School of Music. Used to teach her students in her music room down in the basement here. All their children were entertainers. The son Peter was part of Peter and Gordon, the famous duo of the 60s. How many hits Lennon and McCartney songs. The reason they had their songs to record was Peter's sister Jane was dating Paul McCartney. Certainly helped keep us in the family, as it were. But called Jane Asher was a famous actress. She's been acting since at least 5 years old. By the time she was 17, I met Paul. Sorry, can we move in a bit, please, so we can get by behind us if we need to. Sorry, a bit spotted of space here. I said, by the time she was 17, I met Paul, already appeared in many films and television shows. She's a celebrity in her own right. In April 1963, Jane did a photographic assignment for Radio Times Listings magazine. The concert at the Royal Albert Hall, with the Beatles top the bill. She was photographed in the Radio Times, screaming at the Beatles. She met them all backstage. I was going better with Paul McCartney. They started dating soon afterwards. According to legend at least, a few months later, Paul missed his last train home one night. The Asher family let Paul stay the night here in the house. Actually, Paul was to stay here for the next 2.5 years. He and Jane moved out until 1966, and Paul bought his home in Cavendish Avenue, St John's Wood, round the corner from Abbey Road. During the time that Paul lived here, of course John Lennon came here a lot as well. John and Paul wrote many songs here, many down in Mrs Asher's music room. One song they wrote down here was I Want to Hold Your Hand. Of course, the song that made the Beatles big stars in America on the Ed Sullivan Show in February '64. It's coming up to the 40th anniversary next month. Another very famous Paul McCartney song started out when Paul woke up early one morning in his bedroom at the top of the house. He woke up with a tune in his head. He went straight over to the piano he had by the bed to play the tune. The next few months went around all his friends playing this tune to them. If anyone knew what it was, he thought to remember it was someone else's. In fact, he drove people mad playing it to them time and time again. And finally, Paul was persuaded it wasn't anyone else's. He must have dreamt it in his sleep. Because for a long time, they hadn't written the tune, any proper words to it. The original working title was Scrambled Eggs. But the first line went, scrambled eggs, baby how I love your legs. Don't think so, Paul. Blackie got around to rewriting it, and good job too. He called it Yesterday, and the most famous Paul McCartney song. It's been recorded by about 3,000 people since 1965, and played on American radio some 8 million times. But you can see Paul's handwritten words of Yesterday in the New British Library. It's in the manuscript section, right next door to the writings of Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, Handel's Messiah, Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, and the Magna Carta. I think it's a good job of actually writing the words. Don't think scrambled eggs have been in there somehow, do you? And when Paul lived here, there's always lots of fans around as well. And occasionally it was hard for Paul to get in and out without being bothered by them. So Dr. Asher, Jane's father, had to devise for Paul a rather elaborate escape route. As I said earlier, as Paul's bedroom was at the top of the house at the back, he had to climb out of his top floor window onto this parapet. It's only about 6 inches wide. He had to climb several feet along that. She got to the window, the guy living next door. Had to come in through his open window, out to the back of the apartment into Browning Mews, with the Beatles chauffeur Alf Bicknell had the car revved up, ready to make a quick getaway. That's Paul's rather elaborate and not dangerous escape route from the house. Even though Paul and Jane were together for about 5 years, they were actually engaged for a while, they never got married. So in the end, Paul married Linda, jumped on to marry a famous cartoonist, Gerald Scarfe. And Jane is still acting to this day, regularly appears on the West End stage and on television. She has a sideline though, she brings out cookery books. Sounds familiar, huh? Just like Linda McCartney did. As Linda specialises in vegetarian food, Jane specialises in cakes. She has her own cake shop in Cale Street in Chelsea, just around the corner from the King's Road. She's quite often there. If you see Jane Asher there, don't mention Paul McCartney to her. They broke up over 30 years ago now. Lots of water under the bridge since then, of course. I'll give you some time. I'd like to take some pictures here. Let's see where the Beatles did a scene for Help, their second film in 1965. Give you time for pictures first.
first. We've got to